Hello, and welcome to the CE Fintech Tour of UNCHAIN. This edition focused on Poland. This is a webinar series where we focus on the various markets of Central Eastern Europe and try to highlight them each in turn. This edition is the largest market in the region, Poland, where we are joined by four experts, four high professionals from the region. And our co-host for today is Piotr from FinTech Poland, the new CEO of FinTech Poland. Congratulations.
Thank you, David. Hello, David, and hello, everybody.
Hi. So I would like to start this off by inviting you to give us an overview on the Polish ecosystem, on the current state of the Polish market in regards to fintech finance. Just so we all have a better idea of the framework of what's going on and how Poland's doing.
Okay, thank you, David. So the Poland, as you mentioned, is the biggest economy in the region, with the population over 38 million, and the biggest banking sector in the CE, with the assets over $700 billion. So the ecosystem and the economy from the perspective of financial markets is growing rapidly. We identified over 400 fintechs currently working in Poland, so it's a huge amount of and pool of talents available there. But what drives the whole ecosystem is the society, which is very open for innovation, which is very unbanked. So highest financial inclusion rates in this part of Europe, with the numbers over 95% of people using banking access, with 80% using online banking every day. It's not only because of the access to the banks, but also because they use the access to the public services provided by mCitizen application that allows you to cover all your needs with the relation with the state. So we've got about 10 million active users of this application. And something which drives the development of the market is also BLIK. You cannot mention BLIK when you are talking about financial landscape in Poland. So BLIK, with 18 million users, covers over 65% of all e-commerce transactions in Poland. So yeah, it's the biggest payment method as a payment scheme, except of course a MasterCard, available in Europe right now. So it's 2.4 billion transactions in 2024. So the numbers are enormous from this perspective, and this is what creates the shapes of the economy in Poland. Of course, it's worth mentioning capital markets. Capital market with over 750 companies listed in Warsaw Stock Exchange, with the assets over $760 billion, but it's still unestimated when you compare it to the scale of the economy. So we are still pushing the development of the capital market as a part of economy that supports the growth of the country. Those are probably the most important numbers to describe the whole landscape of financial market in Poland.
No, it's interesting to say that also capital markets, because that's an issue not just in Poland but in the entire region. where it's such a subdivided region that there's no real center, there's no real capital markets that can develop with enough traction to really get going. And Poland is a relative leader in that sense, but still, there's a long way to go to promote this and to support the region in this regard. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And Blick as well. It's great. Yeah, they're coming to Romania. They're growing to new markets. So that I've seen mentioned in many different ways as a very promising European payment option, and I think it's going to add a lot to the ecosystem, to the environment around us. So, yeah. Fantastic. We were really looking for that, and in many ways, Poland has a leading function in the region. You know, we have the Three Seas Initiative, those kind of political bonds, but it is relatively much larger. It has some sort of capital markets already. And in that sense, it's a leader where Romania, Slovakia, Bulgaria just cannot function in that way to that degree. They still have a long way to go.
Yeah, but when you compare the size of the economy, it's the natural position of being a leader in this region with the number of population. But still, fortunately, the economy grows in a very fast way, the fastest in the region, development of the whole economy, not only based on the financial market, but supported efficiently by the especially banking sector. And the ambitions for the projects like Blick going abroad is the next step that we are waiting for, of being present abroad with our solutions and our fintechs and financial institutions.
Yeah, but it's not just Blick. Like you said, Poland has a lot of fintechs, relatively a lot as well. And if you want to, just think about the potential in the region, that the idea is scaling and getting to new markets. That's something where we can step in, and you and I can try to assist this kind of internationalization of these companies in order to compete. Because that's another thing. If you don't have the capital market support, you don't have the capital, the market size that you can grow into, it's going to be very hard to grow fast and compete on a global stage, right? So this is something we really do need to work towards and do need to support. It's essential.
Yes, this is the statutory role of FinTech Poland. So we support our members not only with the cooperation internally in Poland, but to enhance them and to support them growing abroad. This is what we are challenging right now, mostly in Poland, but still few of our today's guests even are strongly exposed for foreign markets, so they can share their experience already, how the path of going abroad looks like.
No, very, very good point. And maybe that's a good segue to have you introduce our guests and start off the general conversation.
Yes. So today will join us Adam Miziołek with the Global Chief Growth Officer role in Verestro, Konrad Ozdowy, Innovation Manager of the product from PKO Bank Polski, Marcin Mazurek, Board Member and Chief Product and Technology Officer from Autopay, and Rafał Piotrowski, Product Owner at Bank BNP Paribas.
Super. The gang's all here. Fantastic. So, Piotr, please start the conversation, or maybe see where we can go from here.
Yeah, thank you, David. Welcome all you guys for today's webinar. I'm so happy that we are all together, and I'm waiting for sharing of your experience about where we are as a Poland, and how the landscape of financial sector looks like, and your experience of going abroad. This is something that can be shared by especially Marcin and Adam from fintechs, but Rafał and Konrad, with their position on the market, will share their experience of growing in Poland and cooperation also with fintechs companies. So let's stay maybe at first in the banking and digitalization stage of development in Poland. And maybe we will start with Rafał from your perspective on where we are as a not only banking sector, but as a society in the digitalization process.
Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation. As of the question, where are we as the society and as the sector when it comes to digitalization? I think we've gone through a very long way. We are pretty advanced as a country overall in let's say, all what comes when you think of digital processes, digital behaviors. From my personal perspective, I'm pretty happy to be a part of the, say, banking sector, which played a crucial role in digitalization, because banks, as you might have known, have been the first ones to introduce so heavily mobile applications on our market. Banks have also launched and educated the society towards using digital identity, which now is also a pretty strong foundation together with M-Obywatel that has been mentioned in the very beginning, is very strong foundation for going further in digital services. Also mentioned before, BLIK, but also Pay by Links, which is a payment scheme in Poland, which is a slightly more convenient way for wire transfers. In this particular aspect, I am pretty sure that we are pretty advanced already as a society, probably due to the fact that we started a bit later than the rest of the West. However, I think we really took our chance and done it well, shortly speaking.
Thank you, Rafał. PKO Bank Polski was one of the first banks that implement the digital banking application, and it's also the leader and the very first bank that starts the cooperation with the state on the fields of exchanging data and use the solutions provided by the banks for the purpose of cooperation with the state. So, Konrad, the perspective from the PKO BP, the biggest Polish bank, and the only one that supports state from the very beginning. I remember 2015 and the role that has PKO BP played then, support enhance other banks to join forces and to create the common solution for cooperation with the state, also on the fields of M-Citizen and Obywatel application.
Thank you, Piotr. Yes, that's true. So first of all, also I would like to add that the Polish, banking sector is one of the most digitalized in European Union, which is we are very happy of it. As said, we're the founder of the BLIK, but of course, thanks to the cooperation with other main banks in Poland, we can scale it to the size which BLIK is right now and can expand. Well, yes, that's true that our like PKO Bank Polski is one of the oldest Polish bank and still the biggest one. But something like 15 years ago, we decided the digital transformation way was started, and of course it's more complex. But like I'm talking about the fintech ecosystems and coming back to the main subject. So we are very proud that our way of digital transformation, that our like our innovative way, innovative products are very connected to the startups ecosystem here, Polish and whole CE region, yeah, because like we as an innovation department which I am representing. We are trying to, like it's the second step of digital transformation, which we are really supporting, but we're supporting, but we are supported. so like as you're looking for the other players like startups, scale-ups, innovation companies from here to help us to develop. So we are really, like we are very happy that we are on this way, and this banking ecosystem is very digital transformed, but we are also very proud of our innovative companies, innovative startups that we can that we can together with them we can build this this ecosystem and beyond and going yes, so and also as a big financial institution, we're trying to to support this way of development. Yes, so we're very happy that that there are a lot of startups that we can cooperate in the area of digitalization.
Thank you, Konrad. If I may also elaborate a little bit more the areas of expertise that Rafał focus on, and the open banking solution. Rafał is one of the most active person in this field for banking sector in Poland, and for sure his expertise is unique. So maybe Rafał, if you could share a little bit more of your experience on open banking solution and how it works in Poland. Because Polish market is one of the unique markets that open banking really happened. Am I right?
Yes, no, yes. Yes, of course. Being very close to the open banking area from the very beginning, when it started basically from implementing regulatory compliance that came, of course, with PSD2. I must say that on one hand side, yes, we are participating in open banking movement. Yes, we are a sector that actually is actively working with open banking. However, still we do have some issues that, from my perspective, make this growth not as dynamic as I would expect before. My personal favorite in this particular area is UK. It's a well-known fact because they have implemented open banking regulations slightly different than the rest of Europe. They have standardized the APIs to more extent from technical perspective than the rest of Europe. And actually, that was the best thing that has happened on that market, because the adoption has skyrocketed really quickly. In Europe, it was way slower. However, compared to the rest of Europe, I personally think that Poland was not that slow. So it was better than the rest of Europe. It was not as fast as in UK. As of now, what I can say is that we use a lot of open banking processes. We take advantage of having the access to common services. Probably Marcin can confirm that payments are now, let's say, being heavily exploited when it comes to open banking. I think it's the most important part of what is happening in this topic as of now. Personally, I think and I expect that if we actually see in the nearest future changes in the regulations, so PSD3 and FIDA, I do hope that we will be able to use the lesson that we have from PSD2 and prepare for that a bit better than we have so far, so that the services that start popping out will be much easier to adopt, that will not require any intermediaries to adapt, and it will skyrocket as well compared to what we had.
I'm so happy, Rafał, that you already mentioned, Marcin, also that the switch will be smooth, because I would like to elaborate a little bit more at the fintech side. The Autopay is the company that in Poland you do not have to introduce. Everybody knows Autopay, one of the biggest and the oldest fintech in Poland, established in Sopot. So it's also unique from this perspective. It wasn't established in Warsaw as the majority of fintechs in Poland, but still Autopay, it's not only about payment. Of course, the majority of the scope of your activity covers the payment. But right now, Autopay focus on going abroad and developing the different areas of activities. So, Marcin, if you could a little bit elaborate about the biggest opportunities that you foresee in the growth in Poland, and where what you are focusing on going abroad as a Autopay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Well, Autopay is actually, yes, one of the oldest fintech in Poland, I think, privately owned, over 26 years on the market. Over 10 million customers are using Autopay services. So yes, it's quite well known in Poland. Although, there are limitations because Poland is not growing that fast as we would like to. So we have to scale out to other countries. And as Rafał mentioned, one of the limitations or hurdles that we have is a compliance, is a governance that we have around the payments ecosystem. So all those regulations that we are being imposed, talking about Europe only, are interpreted in a various way in countries, between the countries, but in countries inside as well. Open banking, one of the examples, it's a great thing that we have and we are using it. But even in Poland, by different institutions, interpretation of open banking and PSD2 varies a bit, which causes, implementation costs, compliance costs, governance costs. And when you go to Europe, we've got all those common laws around the KYC, AML, but still, every country has some unique flavor of it, and you have to comply with it. You have to spend time and spend money. So growing abroad brings new challenges, not mentioning going out of Europe. So anyway, having in mind, Autopay decided, a couple of years ago that we would go abroad. We've got our presence in Germany. We've got multiple services connected to Autopay product range in Austria and Switzerland. Right now, we are establishing an office in Brazil and in Dubai. So we are looking for new market. We are trying to somehow use the knowledge, but not repeat the same success because the market is local and has different needs, but use all the knowledge and experience that we have in Autopay to grow outside.
Thank you, Marcin. When we are talking about growing outside of Poland, you cannot mention Verestro. Verestro is a unique example of growing by Polish fintech, mostly abroad. So the presence on almost around the world markets. So you do not focus only on European Union area. You are present in Asia and other markets around the world. So Adam, your experience as a Verestro, a unique example of fintech going abroad from Poland with the success story already written. Please share with us your experience on this field.
Okay, thank you for inviting me and meeting you guys all here. What I would maybe say is that I fully, genuinely agree with what Rafał, Marcin, and Konrad said before, and of course you guys in this short introduction. But it wouldn't happen. This growth of Verestro wouldn't happen without the experience we gathered on the Polish market. Actually, this is actually the beginning, the starting point for all the fintech ecosystems all over the world. If you are born and growing up in the country like Poland, where the banks are actually the drivers of the growth of the fintechs, of the new innovations, and you have such a huge, as you mentioned, Piotr, in the beginning, population of people digital savvy, open, embracing the new technologies in the very early stage, and also banks that are doing something extraordinary in comparison to the Western Europe, where European banks are more like, I don't know if you agree, are more like following the customer trends and are trying to meet the requirements of the customers by just providing the services, but not doing anything beyond that, where the Polish banks are trying to change a bit the approach of the customers and educate them. The best example is what PKO and Konrad company, PKO BP, did in the past, while in incorporating the first version of Blik, which was named Eco at the first really beginning, they were saying, okay, how to actually make the population use this solution. And the only way to do it was not digital way, because we would just reach out to those. At this point, I was working in this bank. We will just, through the digital channels, reach out to those using already the digital channels. So the only way to educate the market was to use the branches, use the clerks at the branches, and learn people to install the application and do the first transaction within the branch. And Verestro is actually taking, and that's the way we are reaching right now, 17 million last year of users, of 40 million population using Blik within Poland, which is a peer-to-peer transfer for those who are not knowing the solution. And what Verestro did was simply, we all are ex-bankers, ex-MasterCard, ex-Visa workers who are actually working here in the field of fintechs from the real beginning, doing these innovations within the banks, which were giving us huge budgets, huge knowledge, a lot of education trainings. And later on, Krzysztof Drzyzga, who is our CEO, established a company. He is an ex-MasterCard, I'm ex-mBank, ex-PKO BP. And we gathered all this information into one company, building the products from scratch. But actually, the idea behind these products is that we are taking what's the best of what we already deployed in the Polish market, and we are trying to sell it outside our boundaries, our borders. And we are right now existing in, and we are present in LATAM, in Africa, mostly Kenya, Tanzania, all these countries. We are also operating in Asia, in India, in Cambodia. You can mention the country and I will tell you what we are doing there. But this is mostly based on the experiences we gathered over the tokenization and going digital with the payments. Over the course of the last decade, actually, when we were going with PayPass, Paywave on Visa cards, MasterCard, there was a huge demand in the other growing countries or developing industries to adopt the technology of doing the NFC payments, so Apple wallets, Google wallets. And this is something which we were really building our position on. So helping banks to do the quick plug and play tokenization of their cards. And later on, we found out that also card issuance, the card issuing programs, and actually banking as a service setups are also something of a huge demand in other markets, as there is a lot of non-financial institutions going this way. And we, knowing very well how to build the bank from scratch, we just went abroad and said, guys, we have the infrastructure, we have the licenses, we have the knowledge, not only with the technology setup, but also with the marketing and the hints, how to avoid the problems you can face up. And that's how we built, I think, Verestro abroad. That's what we did. But it wouldn't happen without our experience here.
Yeah, it's really true story of being successful of going abroad. But you also touched the point of cooperation between the banks and fintechs. So, Konrad, you represent the unit responsible for this kind of cooperation, and you introduce innovation into the whole environment of the bank. So, please share with us your experience. How does the fintech's banking cooperation collaboration looks like from the perspective of bank?
Yes, thank you, Piotr, for this question, because I would like to add it that I said before that yes, we are very open to cooperate with startups, and then the startups help us to be more innovative, but I don't say how we do it. So also I know that BNP Paribas also is cooperating, so probably Rafał later tell their perspective, but how it works in PKO Bank Polski. So directly, we have the dedicated program called Let's FinTech, which is a dedicated program for cooperative startups on the different stages of the development. Basically, we are looking for some solutions, but of course, we are as a bank, we are looking. Main focus is fintechs, but not only, because also we like to be interpreted as a big company, not only bank, but also big company with the challenges of big companies. Yeah, so of course we are looking for the new fintech finance products, but also the solutions that can help us to be more digitalized, and also also, which is right now the main trend in worldwide banking, the trend beyond banking. So also we are right now very focused on value-added solutions. So what we can offer to our client, which is not directly connected to the financials, yes. So added value solutions. So basically, we are looking for the products. So as an innovation department, we are the internal innovation consulting department, let's say. So we're looking for some solutions. We're actively looking, but also are open for. So we are like to listen for the market. And so if any startups are listening our roundtable conversation, so please be invited to to fill out the form on fintech.pkopolski.pl, or just reach me on LinkedIn or wherever you can find me. So we are very open to cooperate with you. And so first of all, we are starting our cooperation with the POC. So we are POC interpret POC as a trial, which is what's the difference? Because I prefer to name it as a trial, not as a demo. What's the difference? Different is that the trial is a full version, but on smaller, a smaller process, smaller amount of people, smaller amount of clients. Yeah. So, but full version, not the demo version. So we are testing it. Of course, we are paying for the POC, and then creating the POC. We are also setting up the success measures, KPIs, and after succeed this measures, there is a decision of the fully commercialization. Yeah, so this is the path. And also as PKO Bank Polski, we have our venture capital. Venture capital is also it's an additional path, but we are open to also invest in startups, on the later stage. So basically, it works like that.
Thank you, Konrad. From BNP Paribas is one of the most active as well banks in the fields of cooperation with fintechs, but also in the field of development of new products based on innovation internally. So, Rafał, if you could share with us your experience, your perspective for this kind of cooperation.
Sure. Well, historically, we started with, very spontaneous cooperation with startups and fintechs, which was pretty difficult when it comes to implement the outcomes into bank's ecosystem, which is utterly complex and plenty of legacy underneath, as everybody can imagine. So from that perspective, we started learning, but we also started educating. So this is something that has been happening for quite some time now. We have published quite a few publications concerning how we work with startups when only the PSD2 regulations came into life and we knew the dates of compliance. We created something that we called PSD2 Academy, where we were actually looking actively for all the startups and all the fintechs that were looking to explore the area of open banking, in order to find and support them in this mission. As of now, we still work quite actively with startups and fintechs. Well, basically, we can say that all the value-added services that are targeted for our customers and delivered by the bank, they come from those kinds of corporations, most of them at least. As of now, we also quite strongly on having an direct offer for our partners like startups and fintechs as well. So it's a sort of we're looking for mutual business opportunities in this area, and we also, quite similarly to what Konrad has mentioned before, we have a dedicated process of implementing what we build together with the startup or a fintech in our ecosystem. So we have a dedicated procurement process with a, let's say, a bit more lightweight approach towards how we build the POC and what we actually mean by the POC as well. So it's in this particular case, it's pretty similar, I would say.
Thank you, Rafał. I can also ask Marcin about the collaboration with the banks, because maybe it's not so obvious, but Autopay supports many companies in the fields that it's not so obvious. I mean, there's all SMS notifications. So, for example, is the leader in Poland in this field. So, Marcin, maybe a little bit more from your side on collaboration with the banks and banking sector, but also the biggest opportunities that you foresee for the fintechs in Poland, but also going abroad. What fintechs should focus on?
You know, like as we mentioned, it has some history, so it's providing a lot of services, like old services, top-ups, SMS notification, authorization to the banks. It's fulfilling the orders. I think, you know, like Autopay or other are filling the gaps. This is what Adam talked about, you know, filling the gaps where banks do not or struggle with building new services, value-added services, as not all or competency or because of the regulations of compliance. They would like to outsource or use partners, as we are partners for many banks, and long-lasting with multiple banks across Poland. And I think the future for fintechs like us is finding those sweet spots, things you can add to the banks that banks will never focus. As a big organizations, highly regulated organizations, they will rather focus on the core of activity, not on this potentially growing spaces, that we can find those sweet spots and fill them, and probably support those things or build those things for other companies as well, other banks or other financial institutions. Look at stable coins right now, like in Poland, not very particularly popular topic, and I don't think banks will focus on this. This is growing highly, growing. It's already being heavily used across the world in multiple countries. Better developed in that space that we as a fintechs could propose such an offer to banks as institutions, so they can outsource the risk, outsource the complexity, outsource building the competencies in this particular area, which will never be the core, or maybe it's not right now the core of activities.
Thank you. And Adam, those trends that you foresee as a future of development, you already mentioned tokenization of the payments, but other trends that you are following, or you are rather trendsetters than followers, but still, what you are focusing on in Verestro right now?
Right. Yeah, of course, tokenization is these days not anymore like this rising star of the future, because most of the European banks already did it. Nevertheless, there are some you wouldn't probably believe, but even in like Switzerland, of course, in Balkans, some of the banks are still missing those features. But I think what's the next big thing for us, next big trend that we would need to follow, is something like a combination of the outcomes of Marcin and Rafał actually positions and claims. This is something which is, I would call like, but it's a big word, like embedded finance. Let's call it embedded finance, but with a very, I would say, taking into consideration a specific of a Polish market, which I mentioned like in the first part. So we are cooperating very closely with banks. We have, as fintechs, we are providing a lot of services to banks. Banks are struggling, as Marcin said, with their internal problems, like lack of sometimes a huge, of course, they are strictly regulated. At the same time, having limited resources within the organization, huge roadmaps and agendas of new deployments. So they need someone, sometimes facilitator for a quick win, for the sweet point, actually leveraging the sweet point, taking this low-hanging fruit from the market. And that's the place where the fintechs are stepping in, where they can easily build with them. That's what we actually do with the big partners like banks or non-financial institutions trying to build an embedded finance solution. We are building a venture capital with them. So they're actually putting the risk outside of the organizations into this venture capital, and we are building them with them from scratch on our license, which is our risk and our infrastructure, technology for them to check if this trend, this new big thing that we are trying, we are experiencing, doing some exercises with, is really the thing to invest maybe and do it internally, the bank. And I would mention here two areas which we are right now doing specifically in Poland, which is of course, embedded finance. So cooperating with banks, taking them services out of the bank, for example, using a mass collect solution for the accounts. So taking a range of accounts from the bank, using their banking license, and issuing those accounts to, providing those accounts to, for example, users of telecommunication organization, which is being, of course, branded with this telecommunication brand on top. So bank is not visible to the end user at the end. We are taking also lending products from them and building for the bank a kind of like a proxy of of a white label banking solution, any kind of business model in in Poland or Europe or world. And I would mention here maybe 3 target groups that are really interested into those target verticals, I would say, interested in such services, which are merchants, communication solutions, and industries like insurance companies and leasing companies. This is amazing. They are all like interested in building financial services for the users. And the second thing I would mention, closing up my maybe too long speech, is the digital lending. This is something that I would say we made a huge progress in terms of making this process very simple for the end user. But at the end, we are missing for sure a quick and easy, accessible, affordable process for lenders doing it offline. So I was working for many years in buy now pay later solution, buy now pay later provider organization that was actually, hitting the top of the nail in terms of like e-commerce, but never managed to challenge the offline commerce market. So I think it's gonna be like the next big thing, given how the Polish population is utilizing the credit products.
Adam, thank you so much for sharing this your perspective on the future trends that will focus attention on the fintechs, and I think it's topic worth elaborate a little bit more, also from the perspective of the banks. So, Konrad, all those trends that you are chasing right now as a bank, including AI, how it looks like from your perspective, where are the main challenges and the priority on the in the perspective of such a big organization as a largest bank in Poland?
Look at us with all of the innovation, all of the the main challenges are the security and the regulatory. Like this is always a challenge. Talking about the going. Going through the innovative products as AI, as to implement it, it's even more complicated. Yeah. So this is the challenge, because the challenge is not the ideas. The challenge is how to do it, but. Okay, but talking about seriously, so of course the main the main focus right now is, of course, like the implementing AI, generative AI to all of the processes. Like of course the implementing AI started a few years ago, like talking about the bots, chatbots, and the solutions. Like, but it was like not generative AI, but first, the AI story that was implemented. Right now, it's more complex, and thanks of it we can implement it to the other place in the bank, in the organization. Yes, so this is also the second main innovation is blockchain. It's the blockchain technology, which as a Bank Polski, I think we are like one of the biggest implementation in the biggest implementation in Europe in the case of document management. Yeah, because like a lot of documents are going through the blockchain technology, but we would like to to expand it to more processes. But it's also, but for example, of course, in the case of AI, there is such challenges of the regulatory and security. In the case of, for example, blockchain technology, is the case of utility. Yes, so sometimes you have to, it's too complex, like a technology to use it for simple processes. Yeah, so it's also always using it. Also, the whole ESG subject, it's very important still. Of course, right now after the publication of Omnibus is a little bit, it's different than it used to be before. But also all of the green transformation and then and the you know like the banks, where is the place for the banks in this the green transformation, of course, to finance it, but also as a big institution as a big bank Polski, we think we have a big impact on this in this area, so we also would like to help to our clients to to go to these directions. But no, so basically, all of the new technology has a lot of challenges, but we are, if we will not, think how to implement it, how to, work with this technology, we will stay in. We cannot develop. So this still important in the area of development.
Thank you so much, Konrad. I feel like we can discuss this and go deeper and deeper into the topics for the next few hours. But David, we are limited with the time, so I hope we will have a chance to elaborate a little bit more, or even much more, at UNCHAIN Festival. So David, if you wish to summarize our discussion and make some closing remarks with.
Thank you. I'll take it from here. Perfect. No, it's been actually fascinating listening to all of you speak on your various areas of expertise. And just as a general common observation, all four of you are very much focused on development and new technology and changes and expansion both within Poland and externally. And this just shows the vibrancy of the Polish market. This is quite inspiring and exceptional. Not every place has the same kind of energy and the same kind of brains focused on the constant development of technology and advancement therein. So congratulations on that, basically. I can't put it in Mary's ways, but I mean everything from the being on point and understanding open banking and how we're integrating with that and pushing that forward, which is a topic which doesn't happen by itself. It doesn't. I mean, many markets have open banking in theory, and it just sits there like a dead dog. So pushing that is difficult, and successfully implement that is hard. And congratulations on that. And then we can go PKOs. I know PKOs doing innovation. I know PKOs even going abroad. You're opening it at a branch now in Romania. Congratulations as well. That is difficult, and that is also what's needed for the area too: a unified banking system, a unified technology. And then Verestro, obviously, global expansion, super cool. Just mentioning all the markets that you're working in and operating in is fantastic. And the same goes for Autopay. I mean, that's inspirational. Take a mature and settled company and taking that leap in a like confident and successful way. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you all for joining us in this webinar focused on Poland. And I hope to see you all in UNCHAIN. It's in June, 17th, 18th of June. So please come. You're all welcome. We have direct flights from Warsaw arranged. And thank you again for joining us for this edition of CE Fintech Tour, folks in Poland. Thank you. Goodbye.